All right. You good? You want to try? Yeah. Okay, so okay, good. So the first rule. What's the first rule that we have here? It's idhar. So we have a tanween, okay? So nun sakin or tanween, so that's we've identified the first thing, followed by a this is a hamza. Okay? This is a hamza. So where does hamza come? Which rule in the chart? I mean, which it comes from the throat, which means that it'll be what? Idhar. So how would you pronounce it? Clarity. Adhabun alimun. Right? Just complete, yeah, complete clarity. Adhabun alimun. So keep going. And I messed this up in that I put the rule I was trying to put on the in between two lines, so it might be. um, okay. So what's the next thing that we're looking at? And yeah. So this is going to be which rule? The one we're doing now. Iqlab. Yeah. So I'll put a little meme here. Okay. Adhabun alimun. Yeah. Mhm. Bima. Yeah. Yakdibun. Okay. ولهم عذاب أليم بما كانوا يكذبون. بما كانوا يكذبون. Yeah. Yeah. So we haven't done the rules of meme yet, but this is idhar. ولهم عذاب. You don't say ولهم عذاب. You don't do that. ولهم عذاب أليم بما كانوا يكذبون. Good. Questions on iqlab? Questions on iqlab? It's clear. It's ظاهر. Huh? It's converting? So, okay. So that actually that that actually is a good segue, that last ayah, I shouldn't have erased it, to uh, the first quality or slifa that we were going to take today. Okay? So I told you the class kind of jumps all over the place, and where you get to practice it all is when we recite, and which we'll do. We're actually going to stop soon, so that we can get practice. So so and you don't have nobody has the sheet of notes, but so the first that's fine. I mean, I'll bring him next time. The first slifa, there's two types of qualities or characteristics of letters. There are those that are like opposites, meaning all the letters either fall into category A or category B. Okay? There's those types of rules, those types of qualities. And then there's just qualities that apply to certain letters. Okay? Which is not a good distinction, because obviously if it only applies to certain letters, then that would exclude all the other ones. But that's not the way they break them down. So there's certain ones that apply, that they say are one or the other. And so the first one that we'll take, we'll do two of them today. The first one is humps. Okay? Humps. Humps means what? Remember? Whisper. It means whisper. Okay? And these letters, when you pronounce them, some air passes through. Okay? So you're like, what is this guy talking about? Okay? So do you remember yeah. It's a little harder one. It's not actually, Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know. So it'll get yeah, Taz one of them. So the mnemonic for it is فحثه شخص سكت. فحثه شخص سكت. So it's the letters. It's all on the notes. So when I bring them next time, then you guys can look at them. So it's fa ha tha hu shakh sun sakat. Okay. So these letters, this is important. This is important. And the reason it's important is these letters, when you put a sukoon on them, or you pronounce them generally, some air comes out. So what's the ayah we just recited? What did we just say? Like I just had on the thing. Anyone remember? وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْذِبُونَ. Okay? So the word is يَكْذِبُونَ. يَكْذِبُونَ. So what are we looking at? We're looking at this ka. Okay? We're looking at this ka. So one way to say it, okay, if hums didn't apply, would be yakdhibun. Yakdhibun, meaning no air comes out. You say yakdhibun. But that wouldn't be correctly pronounced. The correct pronunciation of the ka is yakdhibun. So you have to pronounce it and hold it so that some air comes out. So you'd say yakdhibun. Yakdhibun. So the one that's where you hear this most is ka and ta. So we say yeah. If you were to say tabbat, that wouldn't be correct because no air comes out. Tabbat yada. Okay? What's the correct way? Yeah, tabbat. But you don't want to say it to where it becomes a scene. You don't want to say tabbat. Okay? That's too much. But tabbat yada. Tabbat yada. Yeah, tabbat yada. Okay, good. So there's other the second one I wanted to teach these together. So the other category or quality of letters that we were going to take today was qalqala. Okay? Which is the bouncing one. Most people know this one. And those are what letters? Qutbu jad. Okay? So those are going to be, I'll write them in red. Qaf, ta, ba, jim, and dal. Okay? Which spells what? Huh? Oh, that's a kha. Good luck. Qutbu jad. Okay? So this is vibrating or bouncing. This is air coming out. Okay? There's a big difference. So here we're allowing some air to finish the pronunciation of the letter. Here we don't actually allow any air. Okay? So you say ba. You say ab. Right? Ab. There's no air that comes out. Ab. The sound vibrates. We say قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Ahad. Right? It's the letter dal, and it is kind of again tied to the makharij too. Everything's kind of tied together. But it's not about air coming out. It's about bouncing the makhraj, the sound where the letter originates. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ. Right? We don't say falaq and then nothing. Falaq. Right? Here, we're finishing the pronunciation of the letter, and air comes out like in the process. So tabbat yada. It's like I'm saying the letter. I'm not saying tabbata. That would be qalqala if I were to say tabbata yada. right? But it's a different, it's different. Mhm. So in qalqala it does. So if I were to have like the examples I've just given you are the qalqala at the end of the word. And if it comes in the middle, you do it with less emphasis. Okay? Here, so there, okay, so look at like Surah Fatiha. We say, um, إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. Okay? نستعين. Okay? So here, this is an example in the middle of the letter, right? So a lot of people will just say nasta'in, okay? But part of hums is to allow some air, which means you have to pronounce the letter completely and like in its entirety. Nasta'in, nasta'in. So إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. That sounds different from how you're probably used to saying it, right? Because usually nasta'in, nasta'in, whatever, right? It's not. There's no humps. There's no air being flown out. Nasta'in. Yeah. So all of these come. If we were to say, and this ha I said is not pronounced, right? If you were gonna say, or this one, إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح. Fath, right? You want to stop on it, you have to let the air come out. Fath. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, so you want to talk about the ka. So ka, yeah, it's like most of these you're able to identify the rule when there's a sukoon on it. You know, it just like the rule applies even to the singular letter, but it's hard to understand what does it mean unless it has a sukoon on it. Okay? So like the quality still applies to ka. You say kadhalika. But you know, versus I don't know, kadhalika. Like it's just about fully pronouncing it. But when you know, when we say ashtata, you know, you could just say ashtata. Or you say ashtata, some air comes out. Right? We say الذي يوسوس يوسوس, and these are actually in another sifa as well, the ones I'm giving you examples of. But afwaja, 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 you know. And in Tajweed class, you have to pronounce it because normally people will just say afwaja, afwaja, right? Afwaja. It's not wrong, but it's not correct. If that makes any sense, right? Afwaja. Okay. So I think I've put a lot of stuff on the board. Oh, so one more. Let's make a comparison between qalqala and hums. Okay, so I said these are the letters of hums. So what's the opposite of hums? If you don't whisper something, you say it. It's jahr. It's yeah. So you don't whisper it, you say it loudly, right? Okay. Yeah, it's on the notes again. Um, so I mean the notes cover basically the and huruf al-jahr are everything else. Yeah. The reason I keep saying to look to the notes is because it's like a shell for the class. And so all of the rules, all of the letters there's no examples, but it's like you can learn the examples here and then you can go back and review the notes. So I left them at home and people that I gave them to didn't bring them. But you don't need them. So everything else. Okay, so yakdhibun. Okay. Now look at. Sorry. Yakdhibun. Okay. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ بما كانوا يكذبون. بما كانوا يكذبون. The one we're doing now. Iqlab. Yeah. So I'll put a little meme here. Okay. عذاب أليم. Yeah. Bima. Yeah. Right? Just complete, yeah, complete clarity. عذاب أليم. So keep going. And I messed this up in that I put the rule I was trying to put on the in between two lines, so it might be. um, okay. So what's the next thing that we're looking at? And yeah. So this is going to be which rule? All right. You guys, you want to try? Yeah. Okay, okay, good. So the first rule, what's the first rule that we have here? It's idhar. So we have a tanween, okay? So nun sakin or tanween, so that's we've identified the first thing, followed by this is a hamza. Okay? This is a hamza. So where does hamza come? Which rule in the chart? I mean, which it comes from the throat, which means that it'll be what? Idhar. So how would you pronounce it? Clarity. Adhabun alimun.